1943, I went in and saw the army blokes at their recruiting depot, and the bloke said to me, he said, "You're not 18 yet, are you?" And I said, "Not quite." He said, "Come back then." So on the 9th of March, I was at his doorstep. The call up came and we went to Brisbane. Took us up to a little place called Morgan Park. That's halfway between Warwick and Stanthorpe. And that's where we did the basics. I always remember the sergeant instructors, all bloody Victorians. Every afternoon they kicked that bloody football up and down the parade ground, up and down. God blimey. We were putting up barbed wire on the beaches in Sydney. Turned 19 and they went to Canungra. And the last stunt at Canungra was what they call the Wash Creek or something like that. It was a forced march. You spent the night in the slit trenches. They ran the tanks over you and all that sort of business. And then you walk back the next day. And then after that, well, as recruits, we were sent to the battalions. And I was sent to the 2nd 33rd Battalion. Finished up in A Company, number 1 Section, 7th Platoon. And stayed there for the rest of the war. Well, of course, the thing that stuck with you the most was when you were in action. I had a little mate, he was from Jack Galloway. He was our Lance Corporal, 2IC, the section. Jack was killed in our first action, and that was the bad one. And I swear to this day, I heard one shot, and I thought to myself, Jesus, that was close. And I looked and Jack was down, and yet he was hit twice. We lost quite a few at that day. We lost most of our casualties at that day. It was a bad one. We'd gone from the beaches, we'd crossed what they call Pope's Track, where we joined up with the 2nd 31st Battalion. And the word was out, don't do anything silly, no contact if possible. And then they brought us back slowly back. I remember the night well. There was a concert party on the beach, Gracie Fields. The concert was over and they were coming up and they were all yelling out, everything. And they were all in out, the war's over. And that was it. After the war, we were at Balloch and they took us to Macassar, then to Ambon, and finished up at Rabaul. And we bunged on a turn at Rabaul. We thought we were going home. And Brigadier Ether came out and he told us, look, he said, "You know me?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you'll only be here a couple of months." And we went out to a place called Kokopo Ramali Mission, they called it. And we stayed there for about 3 months. They had a Jap POW camp there, and we were there to protect the mission people. We were tied up with the battalion Angow, Australian New Guinea Army Union or something. Had a few volcanic eruptions while we were there. Every time the volcano went off, we used to do a patrol. We used to do what they call the beach road and the inland road to make sure it was all clear. Then we went back to Rabaul, put us on the old Canimbla, back to Sydney. And then from Sydney to Brisbane home on leave, back to Brisbane, back to Kissing Point. They had a holding set up there. We were there for about 4 or 5 months. Then back to Brisbane, discharged. It was all over. I was a civilian again. The hardest thing I ever did was transition from the army back to civilian life. You couldn't talk to anybody. Even my own family, you sort of couldn't relate to them. I'd been away nearly 4 years, and that was the hardest part.